Okay, I'll go ahead and call our meetings to order at 7:04 p.m. We can start with a moment of silence, please. We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As a reminder, if you have a cell phone on you, please make sure it's either off or on silent. Assistant City Clerk, can we take roll call first, please? Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
Lawler,
Here.
Davis, here, French,
Here.
Mayor Snyder.
Here. Do I have a motion to approve of the agenda?
So moved. Or.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, starting our meeting this evening is an update from our DDA chair. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Emily Rebecca.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and provide this informational update both to City Council, but our community at large. The DDA is required to host or share information and informational sessions twice a year. Typically, we partner with the EDC at the Economic Update, and then this is a great opportunity for us to provide this informational meeting, which is set out and required by state statute for us. So the purpose is to give a little bit on what we've been working on, what we are aiming to achieve, or projects that we're working on in 2025. So the DDA continues to have open board seats. So if anybody knows any interested individuals, stakeholders within the downtown district, residents in the downtown district, please encourage them to consider joining the DDA board. I think this is a very exciting time for the DDA. We have a lot of work, especially with the projects and the issues that have recently been uncovered in Stafford Plaza. I think there's a lot of opportunities for both residents and business members to contribute and really shape the downtown area for the future. So our current members include Dave Atchison, Betty Klistic, Nora Jackson, Vicki Snyder, Jim Stewart, and myself. We continue to work and use our development plan as our guiding document. This was developed as a part of Albion's Project Rising Tide. And so we're about 5 years into it, and there's still lots of parts and pieces of it that we continue to draw back to what we need to be working on, what we need to focus on, and making sure that that is really a key piece of how we're guiding the work that we do every time we meet. So some of the recent successes that I think are worth noting over 2024 and back into 2023 is the relaunch of Albion's facade grant applications and our facade grant program. So in 2023, we granted almost $15,000 to 3 businesses in the downtown district for improvements to their exteriors. The board also expanded the application to include rear entrances, since we know that that is also a part of what can create opportunities and a welcoming environment for visitors into businesses and spaces. So we have yet to have an application that specifically focuses on rear entrances or spaces outside of sort of the traditional facade, but I expect potentially those to be coming in the coming years. So in 2024, we saw an increase in the number of applications submitted, but we had about the same amount of granted dollars given out in 2024, just under $15,000. And again, 3 projects were completed. And I'm glad to say that all have been completed, reimbursed, and so we've been able to button up 2024 with our facade grants nice and easy. The board decided moving forward in 2025 to actually increase the amount of matching grant funds. So the DDA will now match up to $7,500. for grant. So that really gives, especially as rising costs, additional labor. I think there's opportunities for bigger projects, whether it's masonry, or larger parts of buildings that are in need of that facade grant work. The board sort of acknowledged that and increased what we can match for 2025 moving forward. So currently, the grant actually is open. We're accepting grant applications for 2025 currently. And then over 2024, we decided to actually allow grants to continue to come in up through April. For decisions to be made all the way up into May. So previously we had a deadline of of the end of the year, and we open it up so that we can continue to review, give feedback, potentially have local businesses or organizations come back to us and make second requests if there were parts and pieces of their application that needed to be tweaked or needed improvement. So we're really excited about what we might be able to achieve in 2025 in terms of our facade grants. We also have continued to work on marketing the downtown Albion. We continue to partner with the city, the chamber, and the community foundation to support our Albion brand ambassador role. We've seen a lot of traction, a lot of improvement in our social media, our engagement, overall marketing of downtown. And I couldn't be happier that we have somebody every day who wakes up with the goal of spreading and telling everything good that's happening in Albion. And that is really what Cassie and the brand ambassador's job is to do. So I couldn't be more proud that the DDA is able to contribute and support that, both financially and from a leadership perspective. Cassie and I work very closely together on a regular basis on the work that she's doing. So we're really excited about that. Also, we have been focusing in 2024 on what opportunities the DDA has to bring grant funding in to the downtown district. So we're looking at opportunities and projects that fit, whether it was available grants or different sort of funding sources. So we are really excited to announce that we were the recipient of 2 Albion Community Foundation grants that will provide what they call flashing beacon signage. They are to aid in crossing along Superior Street where there's not traffic signals. So between Erie and Cass, there's actually 3 crossings there that aren't managed by traffic lights. So in the 300 block and then both in the 200 block across from like the hotel, across from Kids and Stuff, and then across from Moose, the barbershop. So we are able to purchase and have 2 of those crosswalks installed. So they're button activated, so they won't go off like randomly or whatnot. And they really are just to alert pedestrians or alert traffic that there are pedestrians attempting to cross. And I think that that will really improve both walkability for our senior community, but all of our young community too, and families as they are moving back and forth between Kids and Stuff and the Bohm and all the activities that we have going on downtown. So those will be coming in the early part of 2025. And a part of our traffic calming and walkability is that the DDA utilized some work that a city group of stakeholder members, I should say, put together in 2017, 2018. They worked and put together a Albion's wayfinding guide. And so that was something that we actually took the lead in putting out an RFP. We received about 5 or 6 proposals back to do and execute on that work that group had done on wayfinding. So we had them sort of price out and scope out all the wayfinding signs that were included as a part of that group's work, not just the downtown districts. So we reviewed all of those, and we are moving forward with Johnson Sign Company. And so we just provided the deposit for 10 pedestrian and vehicle wayfinding signs to be installed in the downtown district and adjacent to the district. So we've been talking with the Chamber of Commerce and City about the remaining signs that are a part of the wayfinding that Johnson actually priced out so that we can keep the signage consistent. It all is consistent with the community branding and really sort of work on that. So he was out even a couple weeks ago and taking photos of some potential new monument signage at the entrances, like our east and west and south entrances into the area. So those are things that working with the chamber and talking to Visitor Bureau dollars, potentially some grants, whether it's at the county level for Visitor Bureau. So the chamber is looking at what sort of opportunities there are out there to sort of fulfill that whole project. But I'm really excited that the DDA will be working and you'll see some wayfinding signage going up in 2025. And then as many of you know, we have quite a few memorial benches down in the downtown district. Some have been placed recently, and the board had sort of a conversation about what other beautification projects or opportunities could community groups that wanted to fundraise or place commemorative items or installations would make sense. So the board's continuing to look at and explore other communities, such as things like planters to go on the railings of some of the bridges, especially like on Cass and on Superior Street, again, to provide more of those. So, you know, a group could potentially purchase a planter or sponsor some plantings for a period of time. So we're working through what that might look like for the coming years as an additional option for beautification. But along with beautification, you may have noticed earlier this year, we purchased additional and new downtown Albion banners that went up on the light poles ahead of Festival of the Forks. So we have those as an additional beautification option. It also is a benefit to traffic calming. Research shows that when there's banners and things on light poles, that just slows traffic down. And so if anybody's been around and walking around downtown, especially like this time of year, the grain trucks are just like hauling butt through downtown. So we're like trying to be creative about how we can encourage just a little bit slower and make it more appealing and walkable. But just prior to Mr. Holt's death earlier this year, the board actually took up some work to put together a commemorative bench and really wanting to make sure that it was reflective of the scope of his work and the depth of his life and commitment to the community. So unfortunately, we weren't able to get that project completed prior to his passing, but the board is definitely committed to ensuring that there are some historical information and a beautification project, and it's currently slated to sort of go into Collaboration Corner, like in that area kind of behind Bigby, as an additional project in there. So the board is really working on that. So our priorities here going on into 2025 and beyond, Stauffer Plaza continues to be a high priority, not even before the recent discoveries in Stauffer Plaza. I expect that will be a significant portion of our work. And I think restarting a bit of the board's work for community input and planning around that space now that we understand more of the underlying opportunities or challenges, depending on how you look at it. So I think that we need to sort of go back a little bit to the drawing board with Whiteman and Associates and take the opportunity to get additional community input on that, since that space has changed sort of so dramatically in a short amount of time. We're continuing to seek out funding opportunity, grant opportunities, working with our finance director about what we hope to accomplish in terms of grants in the coming years. A part of it Farmers market continues to be a big piece, and an aspect that we're continuing to work on. Obviously, with Stauffer Plaza in a construction state, we'll be looking at opportunities for the farmers market to be in a temporary location, at least during 2024 or 2025, and potentially into 2026, we'll see. So that is something that I think, the board is committed to continuing the market and not letting, the construction sort of hinder and, diminish that. Beautification, maintenance, and then continuing communication with the community about what things that we're working on are also additional priorities for us. And then in previous years, in presentations, I have outlined sort of challenges and opportunities. Many of them continue to be the same. As I said, unfilled board seats, continuing to build consensus around projects, and really trying to work to impact business development in downtown Albion. That is, that's a challenge for us as an all-volunteer board. We don't have a director who is, working with developers or reaching out or working to contact businesses, organizations that might be a fit, might be looking for something, and Albion could be an opportunity. So right now that falls, within the EDC's role. And so we're challenged in our ability in bandwidth to partner in a really meaningful way to work on that, even though I think that that's a big piece of the DDA's role in the future is how we're able to sort of court and market ourselves to developers for future opportunities. But we continue some of the brownfield plans that were developed and enacted, and TIF plans. With the hotel brownfield plan, the developer has been fully reimbursed. So we're starting to see some of the tax increment revenue come into the DDA, which has been a huge piece of why we're able to move forward on some of these projects when we weren't a number of years ago. The Brook Street Lofts brownfield is also moving through its reimbursement, and in over the next few years will also be to the point where the developer will be reimbursed for their brownfield work there. So, and then when some of the big Albion plan projects start, those have brownfield activities to them, and TIF plans for them too. So I think, we're continuing to look for those small projects. I think we all know how small projects can make a big difference if we're willing to be creative and find those opportunities. And so that's a big piece that the DDA is continuing to look for. So if anybody sees anything, we're all ears. And continuing our work with our public and private partnerships is a huge piece of what will help us to be successful in the future. So that's what I've got for you.
Any questions for our DDA chair?
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I do have ideas for small projects in collaboration maybe with the Rotaract Club at Albion College.
That'd be great. Wonderful.
We
Yeah.
we need to talk.
Yes, let's do.
Yes, Councilman Williams.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming today, and thank you guys for the work that you're doing downtown. You guys are definitely doing some very impactful stuff down there. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you for being with us this evening.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And we meet the second Wednesday of the month at 7:30. So anybody's welcome to join us.
We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So you fix it.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve of our consent calendar items, which are November 12th study session minutes and the November 12th regular session minutes? Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have a motion to approve of our 2025 meeting dates? So move.
Support.
There is some mistake on one of the dates.
On page 20.
On page 20, November 3rd. It's a Monday, next Thursday.
No.
Yes, it's not Monday.
It says Tuesday, November 3rd.
Yeah, oh,
The 3rd is a Monday.
Oh, the 3rd
yeah,
is-
why would, but not Tuesday, that's what I'm saying.
The third is a Tuesday.
The question.
November 3rd, 2025 is a Monday. Tuesday would be the 4th.
Right. And we're meeting on the Tuesday, the 4th, because of Veterans Day, Flag Day.
Must be.
So it looks like the fourth, at least on my calendar, shows on an election day,
No,
For next, for
twenty
25.
25.
unless you know something we don't.
November 4th is election.
Number 4 is election day. Number 3, I mean, what she's saying, it shouldn't say Tuesday.
Shouldn't say.
Tuesday, it should say Monday. The date is correct, but the day is
The
wrong.
day is wrong.
Right, but it's,
Yeah.
We don't have any election scheduled.
Okay.
it's probably the Veterans Day issue.
Veterans Day is the second week, usually the
Yeah,
second.
Veterans
It's
Day is
the
on the
11th.
So
It's the second week in November, which
So-
is a Tuesday.
So we should be meeting on the third. It just shouldn't say Tuesday.
it
Correct.
shouldn't say Tuesday,
Correct.
right?
She's right, yes.
Perfect. So we had a motion and support.
Yes.
Yes. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-41?
So moved.
Mayor,
Support.
did we
Sorry.
do the public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped right over it. Public comment, if there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regard to an agenda item. You may do so at this time. And then we'll move on. Motion to approve 2024-41.
So move.
Support.
Attorney Harper.
So this is the resolution that we're required to adopt every year that exempts us from the Michigan Publicly Funded Health Insurance Contribution Act for 2025. The act requires that we do an 80-20 split in the payment of insurance premiums for employees. The city actually does a better plan. We're on a 90-10 split. So this just opts us out of the requirements of the act for 2025. We do this every year. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Attorney Harkins? You want to take roll call?
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. So next is our discussion on the city manager search. RFP information.
Mayor, Commissioner.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you, council members. In your agenda packet this evening is a memo prepared by the administration outlining what the results of our request for proposals were to do a city manager search. Council members had also made inquiry as to why the Michigan Municipal League was not included in that. And in a recent phone conversation I had with them, they had no record of being contacted. Now, that doesn't mean that they weren't. Means that it could be laying in somebody's spam file there at the league. I know that efforts were made by the clerk's office to reach out everybody, and so nonetheless, it wasn't. So that's why the league's not on here. But in that same conversation I had with the league was that this is one of the worst time of the year to look for any type of help. Why? Because it's the holidays, and the holidays present a real problem for professional searches. A lot of people don't want to leave their homes. Where they're comfortable where they're at, and at the same time, relocating their children. However, I think that if we give and select a consultant, we can at least move forward in giving them direction and having in advance a job description for us to take a look at. So what I'm recommending tonight, and I wanted to go through some of the consultants. You'll see that Amy Sell out of Ann Arbor, I'm somewhat familiar with them. In fact, they tried to recruit me to go to a township nearby. So I do have somewhat familiarity with them. But the other group is the Pivot Group. I've dealt with them twice now in professional searches through my interim career over the last year. They performed the search for Charlotte and also for the city of Portland. They had great success. I like their professionalism. I like the cost that they're offering us. And as you can see, they're the lowest cost profession. Now, we stand ready to move in your direction in whatever way you want us to go. I'm just wondering if you decide tonight to move forward, that we will start advertising probably sometime in early winter, January sometime. That would give you a time frame of a couple of months to advertise and also to look for a long-term manager. So, again, I wanted to address council formally on this. I've been in this business probably too long, but I think that, the Pivot Group would provide area of professionalism that this council could be very satisfied with. And it's always been my goal is to try to find longevity in the role of city manager. I think a lot of times what ends up happening when we have a lot of turnover, we lose that continuity that is critical. And then we ask staff to fill in and take on some responsibilities that maybe that they're awfully good at, but at the same time, maybe sometimes are uncomfortable. I think that the Pivot Group would serve our city very well. I'd like to find a local, and we're going to encourage our local residents to apply based on the charter qualifications that is outlined that they have to have a master's degree. So I welcome any questions or comments and await your decision.
Councilman French.
So I agree with you, Mr. Terry, that both, the Amy Sell Group and the Pivot Group would be good. They're the only Michigan ones on the list, and, you know, that keeps the cost down. So I would support that. I think also, what's worked for us in the past when we've hired city managers is that it takes about a month for that consultant to have one or more meetings with us and with the public to evaluate what we're looking for, and for us as a council to work with that consultant to determine what we are looking for, and then to help them craft a position description. So to assume that we would be hiring somebody before March, I think is probably a little premature, just because it's going to take us with the holidays, it's going to take us until January, mid-January to get the consultant hired and one or two meetings with them privately and publicly, to then take another month to put together a position description, to then put the thing out for 30 days to get applications, to interview 3 or 4 finalists. It's going to be March before we can. So I think an argument that the holidays are horrible, we're not looking to hire in the holiday. We're looking to hire in the spring. So I think I like your timeline.
The one thing I do want to mention, Councilmember French, is that in my discussions with the Michigan Municipal League, everybody is so crowded right now in the job search that even if they had been notified or were involved, they probably wouldn't be able to get to us until late winter, early spring.
Yeah, okay,
So that is very much worth mentioning.
okay.
We are seeing the employment market in all sectors, both private and public, like World War II. We haven't seen anything like it in our time, in our life. So, and again, it's a very competitive world out there. And I'm concerned that, again, our goal is to find the best and the brightest. And one who wants to stay and reside in Albion. That's Doug's personal goal. So.
Yeah, thank you. Doug, do you think that the pivot group, I see they're excluding advertising, background checks and travel costs. Of course, background checks, I don't think they're that expensive, but do you anticipate that those expenditures may exceed the 18.5 of Amy said?
I wouldn't think so.
No.
I wouldn't think so. Background checks are going to be happening no matter what.
Exactly.
Then one of the things, so the city manager profession is a tight knit circle. We know who the winners are and it would be. Because I've been in this game so long, I'm familiar with some of the players and so I would want to make sure that the person that we selected or selected for interviews have the right stuff.
So to Councilman Williams' point, my suggestion would be if we're interested in making sure that that doesn't exceed the next highest bid is. You could say, well, we're awarding the RFP to Pivot Group at a cost of 10.3. And the advertising, background checks and travel costs shall not exceed. Whatever the difference is between the 10.3 and the 18.5.
Yeah,
Without council approval, like if something comes up,
yeah.
obviously they can come talk to you, but that's how you can control the costs on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would make that motion as presented by our city attorney that we. It is discussed and approved, so.
Support.
Motion and support to move forward with the pivot group. Any other comments? City clerk.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes.
Andy, you've learned not to have to repeat those sentences again. That was good. That was real good.
Do I have a motion to approve of the first reading of ordinance 2024-11?
So move.
Support.
Attorney Hartnett.
So there was a request for a change in the zoning to add auto body, paint, interior glass, auto repair, oil change, tire sales, and automobile service stations to the mixed use district. Apparently that is not currently there. And we'd be adding it as a special use or a special use with a special use permit so they can apply. There's currently a business operating there.
Oops.
So
Where is
this
it?
makes sense.
Yeah, there's actually like 7 businesses that are operating the mixed use, both gas stations downtown. Sicko and the Shell Station, Billicky, Zix, Al's, Gordon's are all in mixed use. And they're all non-conforming uses. So if they were to sell, they couldn't be used for that purpose anymore. I think if the companies found out that they were non-conforming, they might not be able to get insurance. So those things become a problem. So this came up with something else we looked at, so I told Manager Terry that I would come and explain it a little more, because I've been working on this for about a month and a half, 2 months, so.
You wanted to make sure that this got taken care of before he left. Okay.
I tried to do this in October, but you have to have 15 days notice for a public hearing on the planning commission, and planning commission was 15 days into the month, so I didn't get it done. So.
So we approved a few at our last planning commission and this was just. Any questions?
So the obvious question is, they knew that they were here, when we redid our zoning, how is it that we missed them?
So we did the zoning rewrite in 2019. I don't know why these were left out of there. Initially, I thought towing business was left out of there as well, but that is actually at the end of the list. I don't think it was done intentionally, because if you look where Gordon's is, everything else is downtown development district, and then Gordon's, we made mixed use purposely because of that. And I think for some reason we left these 2 off of there. None of us that was on the zoning rewrite could understand why that happened, but
Well, I mean, and the bottom line is, I mean, when we did the zoning rewrite, they became a prior non-conforming use, but like Scott said, the bigger issue is if they ever sold. That would be a discontinuation.
Right.
And they'd have to
Right, I just don't.
get us.
No, I
and
don't
at
think
least they can
that's
get a
at all,
special use
so.
permit.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was important that we get this taken care of and fixed for the purpose, so.
Sure. Any questions or comments?
So if we say no, that means you stick around long.
Not my problem. I have a shirt that says not my problem.
Wait. Any other questions?
Good to see you, chief.
I got two more, so.
Assistant City Clerk. Huh?
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion?
How is this?
It's a 12.
24-12.
12.
I have a motion to approve ordinance 2024-12.
So moved.
Support. He's still
Yeah,
standing.
this is the same thing, really, that we were just talking about. It was an error, I think, that we made in the zoning rewrite. So this property belongs to Zix Towing. All the properties that come down Eaton Street to the backside of where Zix fence is now are all mixed use. We made this R2. Zix purchased that property in 2010. We did the rewrite in 2019. It should never have been made R2. It should have been made mixed use.
Yeah.
So.
Doesn't have an access point to it.
Yes, it does. It goes right to Eaton Street. Yeah. And it goes all the way back behind their fence. So, yeah, and so because it's part of that business, it's a mistake I think we made. And so we did this to correct that mistake as well.
Questions or comments on this item?
Just let me ask a question.
Sure.
Is a business like that? Because I was asked by some people who live in that area.
Mhm.
Does the back end have to be closed in?
Yes,
Okay,
yep.
that's what they wanted to know.
And this really came about because they came in for a fence permit to expand that section
Yeah.
of the fence.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't give them a fence permit because they didn't have the zoning to actually do it. So,
Okay.
yeah, so this is correcting all of
Okay.
it. So.
Assistant City Clerk.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. They have a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2024-13.
And he's still standing.
Yep.
I seen all these.
You got it. Came to see you guys.
Support.
Thank you.
So, this is for Belmont Manor. We've been working with Albion College since I think about August, trying to get this figured out. They have several buyers for the property. The problem is in College Development District that it's in, you cannot do any of the things they want to do with it. It isn't otherwise in the R1 district, and if it was sold, it would revert back to R1, which again, has very little things that you could do in it, that you could use that building for other than living in. The building is too big. Most people don't want to turn it into a residential home, but they do want to use it for a wedding venue, meetings, that kind of thing. So most of those items they want to use it for are in the mixed use district. So Albion College has requested that we change the zoning on this to mixed use with exceptions, which should be listed somewhere, I believe, in the packet,
Yes.
if you got it. And those would be the only items that would be allowed to be used out of the mixed use for that district. If they wanted to use it for something different, whoever the purchaser would have to come back to the planning commission and request a zoning change at that point. Now, we've met with several residents that live around that area. They were very pleased with this result because the building's gonna get repaired and brought back up and be used for what it's kind of been used for the last 30, 40 years, just in a private hands rather than the college. So I think this is a win for the city.
Any questions? Councilwoman Lawler?
Not a question, but I see a lot of, just a comment, just a lot of, housing and single dwellings and home occupation.
Yep, the ones above that, the wedding venue, meeting space and so forth was what they were looking for. The residential part of it just allows them to, there is an apartment on the third floor. One of the buyers was interested in living there, so that would allow them to live there as well. And still maintain the businesses below it. And if somebody didn't want to turn it into a single family home, they could do that as well, if they chose to.
Any other questions or comments? City Clerk?
Councilmember
you.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve of the purchase of the ADPS brush truck?
So moved.
Support.
Okay.
Comes from Lisa to ask for.
No.
Nothing to do with public works.
I know.
Here you go.
Yeah, every time Kern shows up, we spend money.
Big money.
Yeah, I know, right?
So we went to a fire on November 13th, and we knew that this truck was kind of on its last leg. We got it for free from the military. We had it painted for free at the Boaz Center back in 2003. The truck's a 1988. So our detective jumped in it, sit and drive, doesn't go anywhere. Gives it more gas, doesn't go anywhere, has to floor it just to get it to move. Finally gets it out of the fire station. Sees a hill that he has to climb to get there, and it took him forever to get going. And so we finally just need to put this thing out to pasture. So what I did is I got online and I started looking at all the state bid prices. You're looking at 75 to 80,000 for that same truck. They're all white. Well, to get it painted, that's a lot of money to get it painted red.
Get some spray paint for cheap.
Yeah, well, I don't think they would like my job. So I found one that is red down in Hillsdale, and it's been sitting on the lot for over 6 months. So I went down there, or I talked to the guys down there, and not only I get it below the state bid price, but they are able to actually knock off more money off of it just to get it off their lot. So that toolbox is usually about 12 grand, just to put that box on the backside of it. And so this truck is completely ready to rock and roll for what we need. We're able then to take the brush unit that's out of our current truck. We're gonna redo it a little bit and then put it into the new truck. And the guys at the street department can do a lot of this fabrication work too, with a lot of stuff that we have, so. We're looking to get rid of our 1988 fire truck and sell it for what we can get. Go from there.
2024
What's that?
or 2024.
For 2024.
I look good on the street.
Did you test drive it?
I would.
How's its
Make-
transmission?
We want to make.
Oh,
sure
it's got a good
it's
transmission. It's a little bit better than what we got now, so it'll be good. It comes with a warranty, so.
Any questions or comments? City Clerk?
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yeah. Thank you. Future agenda items, anything that council would like to see in an upcoming meeting?
Budget. Only budget.
Safe bill. Make them, yes. My
Oh,
phone and my text.
I have just a,
Anything specific about safe though?
You just need to go over some of their processes. I can give you more information. What to say? I haven't looked at I'll look at my phone again and give it to you.
Okay. That's what French.
it just occurred to me the other night, and I've now been reelected and so sitting on this council. It has been the tradition of the council that at every election, a photograph is taken of the council. And that is hung in the mayor's office. And I don't know if it's been done with the current 6. Like it didn't get taken after I took over when.
Nope.
And so I'm just trying to preserve history here. We have this unique city council that's going to be changing in a month. And so I'm just wondering if we can't get a photograph with, like, so we can maintain a historically accurate record of the people who have served this community so faithfully and hard the last X number of years. And so we're running out of time to do that.
Smile.
Please don't tell me in front of everybody.
I'm just saying, it used to be a thing. I mean,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Mayor Joe was mayor, he
Yeah,
made it,
right.
you know, and now those has been on for more than 10 years. We remember. Either back there or downstairs in the mayor's office, getting there, had a professional photographer take a picture.
Well, this is the first time hearing about it, but I'm
Oh,
happy to.
Really?
let's see.
So y'all be here next meeting, so let's just do it then, and then
We just need to find a photographer.
I'm sure we can find somebody. Yeah,
We got crime scene cameras.
There we go.
oh,
We had hired the ambassador.
that's right.
Yeah, we have the
Yeah, we do.
ambassador.
We could bring in your drone and take an overhead shot.
No.
Well,
Okay, all right.
I'm nice.
Any other, yes, Councilwoman.
You know, during my campaigning, there were concerns regarding sidewalks. So I wonder if we can get kind of an update on what our plans are regarding sidewalks. So at least we can share with the public what is going on, because I know things are happening, but we haven't talked about it recently.
There was a lot of complaints.
A lot of
A lot of
complaints.
complaints on fire.
Fourth precinct too, I got a lot of amputees. A lot of amputees. Sure.
So I believe Lindsay Moore does our grants for us. She tried to get a grant for some sidewalk work, but she was turned down. So I can get more information from her, why it didn't go through and what she was asking for.
Yeah.
But
We'll just make sure it's.
We can try again.
Well, we tried.
we have- I
we're
think
trying.
I think the biggest issues, from what I've heard, and like when Councilwoman Lawler took me to her neighborhoods, it's the bumps when
Highs and
the sidewalks start shifting and the challenges with people who are, you know, in wheelchairs or things like that. It's not an easy transition for them to go down the sidewalk. Do we have any type of equipment that can, like,
Freak or something.
See, made some that can grind it,
yeah,
and so it'll make it smooth, but. Look at it, it's been. Everybody.
It might be cheaper
Just
to
so
take
that
out
it's
the building, put in a new.
Well, and to know that that's,
A lot of times, like, Councilman French said too, but sometimes it's better just to find out why it's here. And find out what the problem is, so.
Trees.
yeah,
A lot of it's trees.
yeah.
Trees.
I believe under Act 51, Mayor and Council, that 10% of our major street fund has to go toward non-motorized improvements, which would include sidewalk. So what we would end up doing is we would ask our director, Elmer Garrett, to he and his staff to take a look at inventory of sidewalks, identify those which aren't in compliance, and then come up with both a short range and a long range plan for replacement to address that. We do want to be a walkable community. We don't want anybody tripping or falling. And we certainly want to give access to anybody who wants to use non-motorized sidewalks, so.
So I think what I would ask of council is if you have constituents that have, you know, concerns of their sidewalks, maybe get a list of addresses and get them to Mr. Terry. He can have a list and work with the director to see what we can do to address those challenges.
We ready for it?
Yes,
Yeah, we ready.
already did it.
Awesome.
You know, before we leave from that, regarding the language of the ordinance regarding sidewalk, that is somewhat confusing. So if we can review the ordinance for sidewalks. That was a concern with several people that I talked with as well.
Any other agenda items?
Did you want a city manager report?
Yes.
How they so close.
They would be
We're
nice.
paying you for
We're
it.
not there yet, so.
It's coming.
So next is our public comment. So if there's anybody within the gallery that would like to stand and address council,
I know it's weird, but I do for just a second. So I kind of want to talk a little bit and bring up the idea of the leaf removal again, because I've had several complaints about all the leaves that are in the streets. I mean, Doug, I talked about this, and Jason, we did purchase new equipment, and I think the reasoning for Granger was we just didn't have the space for it. We didn't have the machines to do all the work, but with everything that Jason's asked for, we should be able to do just about anything, even build houses, I think maybe, but, so I'm gonna just ask that we just kind of put that in our hat and think about us possibly, start doing leaves again. We'll have to try to find out how we can get out of the Granger contract, and I don't think that would probably be that big a deal, because I don't know how that works.
It would have to be agreed to by both sides, but I think if my recollection serves, the reason that we got the pricing that we did was because of the overall package.
Okay. Okay,
But I thought also one of the issues was having the manpower
Yeah.
to do the leaf pickup.
Yeah, we used to hire outside folks seasonally.
well,
Seasonal
before in the
machine.
past, we tried to use a bucket and scoop up the leaves off the curbs, and
That was after the suck truck.
right, and now we have all this equipment. I think this summer, we have a new truck coming, a new back truck that's going to make that work that much easier. It's probably, I think, what's it take, 2 people on that, 3 people?
There's a driver for the truck, and it's a trailer mounted, so basically a 30-yard dumpster. And there's a control guy that has a hydraulic press out, and will suck up from where we're at. On the right of way or in the streets, and then clean it down on the streets, you can go right behind.
So then definitely this is something that we can discuss and figure out before next fall. And probably this fall is not feasible.
And then we have a lot of issues with elderly residents who are unable to collect their leaves. The reason, the biggest thing for the notice was we had people just literally shoving all the leaves out into the street.
Mhm.
It wasn't just leaves that had fallen, it was just whole
Mhm.
yards. So we need to do something.
Yeah.
If this agreement part just isn't working.
Councilman French.
I will say, having lived where I lived for 27 years, this year, I collected more than 6 full containers and 30 bags of leaves. And of those 30 bags of leaves, 15 of them were from leaves in the street, because it's our requirement as residents that we pick up all the leaves in the street. The wind blows, takes the leaves off my yard or my next door neighbor's yard, puts it in the street by my yard. So I pick them up. So I think that there's a happy medium here. We can be loyal to our contract. And as long as we have city staff who are willing to patrol the streets periodically to get those up. And we'll be able to tell if people are literally blowing their leaves into the streets. I mean, I think when we had a vac truck 10, 15 years ago, it was broken because someone threw garbage in their leaves and buried their garbage with leaves, and then it got sucked up and it wrecked the impeller, and there went the suck truck. So, I think we can, with careful monitoring, we can probably do both. And I think there's reason to have both, because the amount of leaves that this city has to deal with is enormous. And if we've got a contract with a company that will take a container plus unlimited bags,
There we go.
Colin's gonna rebut me.
Attorney Harris.
I just wanna, for the sake of time tonight, we're in public comment right now, so.
Oh, yeah.
I know we all have thoughts on this issue, and it's probably a great thing for discussion, but we're in public comment, so it should be public comment and then next public comment.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Okay.
Do want to piggyback on what Director Garrett said, because there is also some rumors and some questions about enforcement with the leaves. The only time APS would take enforcement is worst case scenarios where we've had an individual or two literally take every leaf in their yard and then dump it into the roadway or on the curb, where it's created a traffic hazard or created an opportunity for children to play in it, potentially get hit by a vehicle. In those extreme circumstances is when we would, first
make contact with the owner and ask him to remove it once, twice, and then if it isn't done, then at that point is when we would take enforcement action. But I know some people were concerned about just leaves happening to blow in front of their home and us holding people responsible for that. It's not like that. It's just only in the extreme circumstances like I described where we would even remotely think about it.
Would anybody else like to stand in this council?
Juanita Solis Kidder, 1211 Edward Street. I'm here on behalf of the Arts Commission, the Albion Arts Commission, and we have our second annual Young Artist Exhibit coming up. So we invite all of the Albion students, doesn't matter which school they go to, including homeschooled, to submit an original piece of art on a sheet of paper that's 8.5 by 11 inches, along with a separate sheet that gives their contact information, title of the artwork, and also their age, and then submitted by December 16th to the chamber. All of those pieces of art are going to be laminated, and then on November 30th, or January 30th, sorry. January 30th, we will have a display of all the artwork at Laddington Center. We'll have a reception. Then they will be placed in business windows downtown for a couple of weeks for everybody to come and enjoy and see the talent that we have here in Albion. So I hope you can spread the word to all these children to get them involved with art. That's what we do.
Thank you.
Second, as Vivian, the garden at 5 Points is basically done. Grass has been planted, all the flowers, perennials, rose bushes, spring bulbs, all that stuff is in. We have the 2 benches purchased already, but they're not going to be set until the spring after everything settles, the soil. Because, they're gonna have to put them on cement pads. So I want to thank the city for all the help that they gave us in preparing, especially removing that ugly yellow bent guardrail, the eyesore. And so thank the city staff that helped us with that. Rusty from Four Farms, Chris Ruff, CBA volunteers that went and put in some work and watering and all that. And Mary Jo Freya is the lady involved with planning the garden. And yeah, so we're really happy about that.
So
So thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Althea Shallow. I'm a first-year Albion College student, and I just had a quick question regarding the sidewalk proposal that was earlier. And I just wanted to know, what is the council's vision regarding like the sidewalks and like the long term? Like, what is the vision that everyone wants to see? Is it going to be focused more towards the downtown areas, like the shopping and downtown, or is it going to be geared more towards like citizens home?
We will happily answer that after the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other public comment? All right. Mr. Terry with the city manager's report.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of council, this has been your manager here now for a week and a half. It's been my pleasure. I can't even begin to tell you the cooperation and the competency of staff. Really appreciate their cooperation. This is the first city that I've ever worked for where the manager wasn't responsible in preparing the budget. And fortunately, Dave has the talent and the skills to do that, and I'm very appreciative of his knowledge. Moving forward, as you know, we have a tremendous water main improvement along with water tower coming up. This will have an impact both on the city and its residents. And one of the things that I just want to mention to you or plant a seed with is now would be a time to start thinking about meters. And why is that? Because we want to make things affordable for our citizens. We want our meters to be accurate. And one of the things that we're thinking about is looking at our operations going from a quarterly water billing to a monthly. We believe that this would be more affordable and easier for our citizens to take on with an automated meter reading system that accomplishes that. So in moving forward, we had a meeting this morning. One of the things staff and the engineers are doing is researching what system we could put in place. I will tell you that almost every city that I've worked for in recent past does have some kind of automated meter reading system. It will, what it does is if it has a leak detection report, that if somebody is using a tremendous amount of water, a single person, we can call them up and have them check their toilet or outside faucet to make sure there's no leaks. That saves them tremendous amount of money as well. So we feel that with technology that this city and our residents would be better served in that regard. To touch on another issue, we have spent a tremendous amount of time this week on leaves. It's just that time of year. The court has, as Colin will tell you, like animals, they're free spirits. Sometimes leaves will fall on somebody else's property, but they become our responsibility. So, but it has really become a concern of ours. We think that addressing the solid waste contract and ordinance is well needed. And so we would ask council to consider that with a new manager moving forward is to amend that contract. Between Elmer and Jason, I believe they're on the right track in acquiring the right equipment to help our own residents lessen their burden. See a budget. Oh, the planning and zoning. I want to just touch on that one more time. I want you to have confidence that we will look at every possible angle to make sure that our citizens, our developers are well served. Meaning that when they want to come in, they need to get a building permit, we're going to be there. I have a little bit of background in this. This is an important thing. We want to develop and grow our city, and we don't want any holdups on people receiving a zoning permit. At the same time, code enforcement. In driving around the city, there are some areas that are deficient, but you have to remember, we have been without a code enforcement officer for a couple months now. We're going to get back on track. We're going to address that and try to bring compliance back into order. So, at any time, I'm here Monday through Friday, and I would hope council would contact me with any questions or comments, concerns that you might have. Thank you, Mayor, for welcoming me. Thank you.
All right, council member comments.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. Yes. I appreciate you. These have been some of our concerns, and I thank you for working with the guys because they're out there, they're in the field and they know what's going on. And these have been our concerns, and our constituents have been on us about the leaves and especially the permits, not being able to get their homes built, not being able to put a roof on, not being able to do many things just to make their areas come up and look good. So I really appreciate how you have stepped in so far, only a week and a half, and come up with these, I wouldn't say few, these are big items for our city that need to be taken care of. So I want to tell you, thank you. Yeah.
Councilman Waller.
Thank you so much. I have a couple. The autistic sign, thank you so much for the sign. We are excited about it. We just have 2 signs on one end and none on the other. So can we just take the one on the street and put it by Pine Street, if you don't mind? But we are excited and we do thank you for doing that. The second concern I have is, the machine to clean the sewers. I heard you say something about, stuff being in the sewers. When I was out, campaigning, I seen, around the dog park, those drains are definitely plugged all the way up. So you can just look down and see the dirt, you know. Do we get a machine to fix that? We do. Okay, and for the house on Monroe that we had talked about, would that be the machine to also help them with the flooding? Remember, we talked about it, the flooding on.
Is it in the house?
Monroe?
Is that one where the basement rails?
It floods real bad on the street and then it goes into his house.
We got it back home.
We did good.
Yeah, it's all.
That's
Great.
awesome.
Yeah.
My last comment, I wanted to say thank you to Chief Kip. He's not here right now, but I wanted to congratulate him on his retirement. And I wanted to say that my mother was very excited that the mayor invited her to the chief, who she calls son. And please don't let her tell you more stories. Please don't do that. But I just wanted to say happy retirement to him to that, because I didn't get a chance. And that's
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. On Saturday, Playwright Sports Academy, Milton Barnes held the turkey drive. And, you know, they have an annual turkey drive here in the community, and I just want to say thank you to Milton Barnes and his crew over there for the work that they've been doing in supporting the Albion community and making sure that people didn't go hungry over the holiday season.
Did they?
400?
We did 400 turkeys in 2 hours.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
102 hours.
100 turkeys in 2 hours. So Councilwoman Reed was there helping, and I saw pictures of her all bundled up.
Me too.
Did you?
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed.
I help Milton every year. He's just, anybody that goes through as much trouble as he do to help people.
Go help them.
We do have another turkey drive. It's Tuesday, is it?
I was
think
down
it's
at the
Yeah.
food bank.
Where that's at?
At the
No,
food-
Tuesday at the noon to night.
Maurice.
Yeah.
Isn't it Maurice?
Is it out at the noon to night? I
Oh.
can't remember where it is, but yeah, I think they have flyers out. So if you know people who are still in need, definitely encourage them to go.
Stay at what time?
I don't know. I'll get you guys that.
I'll
info.
look at his page.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's 3. Oh, I'm not supposed to look at my.
The meetings too was something I was following. I was in Marshall the other day and as I'm going by, I'm seeing the truck come by and suck up the leaves, you know? And I thought, gee, this is really pretty. I'm just fortunate enough to have a person that does my yard. He's got the mulcher for the leaves. But before, it was so many leaves out there and people was just raking leaves. And I thought how much better it would be to just rake them so that they don't go on the street, but they're on the, between the sidewalk and the street, and the truck come by and suck them up. So.
Attorney Hurst.
While we're on the subject of turkeys, I just wanted to remind mayor and council, our office has again put together Thanksgiving. This year they're in tote bags of Thanksgiving meals for 7 needy families. And so I just, I'm parked up front. If mayor and council can stop by my car and grab tote bag for whichever needy family they've designated and make sure that 7 families have a Thanksgiving dinner.
See me
Thank you,
when
Colin.
go out, because I got the thank you card to go in the bag.
Yes.
Yes.
And I just have one other comment, you know, regarding the campaign. The positive side of it is you get a chance to actually talk with people at their homes, and a lot of concerns were shared. You know, as council members, I think, well, I have a list already of some of the concerns that I would like to share with leadership for the city, instead of, you know, like if someone says something, at least we have a list of people, a list of addresses that you can take care of and you don't have to do a witch hunt. So maybe if all of the council members would share their concerns that they received, it would save a lot of time and energy.
All right, anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned 8:14 PM. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone.
Back next week at 6 o'clock, correct? No. Stop.